been written that we are ascending, but we're the descendants of the source of all existence. Yeah, it's been written that we are ascending, but we're the descendants of the source of all existence. I have arisen, I'm switching my vision, the spirit is in me, my mission is clear and I started.
When we take this moment to center our being, mind, body, emotion, Trinity complex, to bring ourselves into stillness, to openness for clarity, abundance, and unconditional love, as we receive and transmit the transcriptions of Ra, 6th density complex, through our transmitters and vehicles of raw material. I thank you and open the space for the law of one.
I am open to all the energies of all the consciousness of the divines that were, that are now, and that will be. The consciousness of Ra moves through all of us. Ra is in many names. Ra is many things. Ra is many persons, personas. Ra is many attributes of physicality. Ra is that which is and is not. Ra is all. Ra was before 15,000 years ago. Ra is after. Ra is the law of one. Ra is the law of love. And we open ourselves up to the knowledge of Ra because he wants to give us, or they want to give us, cheat sheets. They said, hey, we've done it. We know it can be done. And we have no problem sharing this information with you. We are not responsible for how you use it. We are not responsible for how you claim it, or if you claim it at all. We've just come to give you it because now is the time. There is only the now moment. only the now moment. So we are here to open ourselves. If you choose, you don't have to. You can just be scrolling and coming through and wanting to make a judgment call just because you think you need to have put a comment in there to be seen or to be heard or whatnot. That's part of the process. You didn't come by this lightly. What you take from it is what you take from it. So as we begin, I'm going to read from this book, The Kabbalion, Hermetic Philosophies, 3 Initiates, the Centenary Edition. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, as we open. We got it? We're not telling you to go buy a book. That's what we've got it for. You can, but you don't have to. We're not getting any.
Fifi's in the house. Welcome, Fifi.
Hi, Fifi.
Wow, I haven't seen Fifi in a long time.
I hope all is well. Thank you for joining us, right? Joining us. Here we go. This is chapter 12. It's called Causation. This is what the divine wants me to start off with. All right. It says, every cause has an effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law, not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes from law. Nothing escapes from law. So whether we believe it or not, whether we practice it or not, it exists. Simply exists. Causation is energy having the fundamentals of itself, saying, I want to create. And regardless of what you throw at me, I can create from that. Why? Because life has to happen. This is the last 3 weeks of us reading what Ra is sharing with us, is that life is going to happen. And it starts from within. We've been learning about our chakras. We've been learning that our chakras from the inside as well from the outside, and earth consciousness has chakras. Just let you think about that for a minute. Take it in. Take it in. Life is going to happen. Whether it's a negative or a positive, we're going to experience it. It says, I'm going to read the first paragraph. It says, the great sixth Hermetic principle, the principle of cause and effect, embodies the truth that law pervades the universe, that nothing happens by chance, that chance is merely a term indicating cause existing, but not recognized or perceived. It exists whether you recognize it or perceive it. Does that blow your mind? It blew mine. When I learned about the law of cause and effect, it blew my mind. You mean shit is happening whether I perceive it or not? Really? It says, chance is merely a term indicating cause existing but not recognized or perceived, but phenomena is continuous, without break or exception. Right? without break or exception. Over to you, Marcus.
So I just heard a little mentioning about the earth having chakras and energy centers. So I just wanted to pull up a map for everyone of where these chakras or energy center vortexes are located on the earth. And as you can see here, that shows with you the comparison of our 7 chakra system with the earth as well. And it tells you which of our 7 chakras correlates to the different areas of the planetary body as well. Or if you want to say it in raw terms, the planetary logos. So it's like your personal logos and your planetary logos that we're looking at here through this mapping. And this mapping is also a blueprint system. And it's the system that basically binds and bridges your materialized self into form. So you can see here the root chakra. The root chakra for the earth is Mount Shasta, California. I'm sure a lot of us have heard of Mount Shasta, especially in the spiritual community, as well as Mount Shasta when it comes to retreats and ascended masters as well, like Saint Germain. Then we have the sacral, which is the next up from the root chakra. And we have the location of Machu Picchu in Peru. And I'm sure we have connected to and seen, heard about Machu Picchu and that beautiful land out there in Peru, that mysterious, wondrous mountains out there with those villages. And oh my gosh, the beautiful layers that they have out there. It's incredible. Machu Picchu. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up a picture of Machu Picchu for you guys that maybe just don't even know or have looked at what Machu Picchu is. It is definitely one of a kind. Boy, oh boy. Let me go ahead and get this on the screen for you guys.
Also,
Machu Picchu.
was where the divine design.
Now, you may people going to Peru to do Peruvian journeys and to have plant medicine ceremonies. But this is what Machu Picchu looks like in itself.
As he's getting that up for you, the divine design by Lori Ladd, when she was at the top of Machu Picchu, that's when she got the calling from the divine to write the book. She got a calling that she was going to have channeled writing, and it started there. She got the whole download from there.
That right there is Machu Picchu. And it's honestly just like, I don't know, it's so breathtaking. I can't even put words to how such an architecture is conceived. It's like, wow, like there has to be a higher intelligence within us to be able to do such a thing. So that's Machu Picchu in the Andes area of Peru, the Andes Mountains.
Yes, Fifi says sacred land. Truly the consciousness of the divine.
Oh yeah. Very sacred land.
So that would be the
So when you
that
think
would be
about that,
throat chakra.
one of the main reasons
third-
why we feel like we're so deeply connected to the sacredness of Peru. Oh, it's glitching. So with now knowing that Peru is the sacral chakra of the earth, that could kind of give us a good reason why to think there is such potent energy of that sort in Peru. And you think about it too, their nature is very inner childlike when it comes to their shamanism and the way that they go about their celebrations. They're a very celebratory culture. They like to wear a lot of bright colors like pinks and yellows and reds and blues. And they like to handcraft and hand make a lot of things as well. So it makes sense why it'd be the sacral. So then we have the solar plexus, and that is Ayers Rock, Australia. And then the heart chakra. So the inner is in Avebury. Glastonbury, England is the outer. So basically the Stonehenge areas. And then we have the throat chakra, Great Pyramids, Giza in Egypt. So that is one of the reasons why we have such a deep connection to Egypt is it is the throat chakra, which is basically our creative expression. It's our truth and communication center of the planet. And that is also why it's basically known as the main hub or the main center of knowledge and wisdom of the mysteries of the universe when it comes to planet Earth. That throat chakra energy. So then you bring it up to the sixth, you have the third eye or the brow, and that is going to be in Mongolia over the Gobi Desert. And the Gobi Desert is also where they say the Ascended Master's Shambhala is located. And Shambhala is basically like the sanctuary or the energetic metaphysical retreat space of where the Ascended Masters assemble on the planet. And then you have the crown, and the crown is in Mount Cook, New Zealand. And that's your 7 chakra system for planet Earth, Mama Gaia, in relationship to our chakra system and the universe. That's awesome that that got brought up from Ra. Over to you.
All right. So, do you know that I'm just so in awe of the consciousness of the divine? Because Marcus and I, we have a lot, we're called to do so much. And we don't orchestrate these. We don't call and we don't say, okay, you're going to say this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to present this and that you present that. We're not doing that. We're totally going with the flow. And I just got a chill all the way from the bottom of my spine, all the way up to the base of my head with this one. He mentions Saint Germain, and this is what the divine told me to read as the introductions before we start. It's called Masters in the New Energy, which is a book that was channeled to these authors, and it was Adamus Saint Germain is channeling it to these author is called Jeffrey Hopp and Jean Tender. And what the divine wanted me to read to you from this, it's called Old Masters, New Masters. This is what the divine wants you to know as we begin this, I guess you would call it, study session. And Adamus Saint Germain says, I am, comma, yes, I am, comma. Adamus Saint Germain, the master. Let's talk for a moment about masters. The term master is thrown around and used openly and freely, and there have been many, many masters in the past. But the masters of the past are different than the masters of new energy. So often the masters of the past had to go through extreme suffering to become a master. They had to deny their body. They had they had to literally deny their human existence in order to look deeper into their spirit. In order to separate what was human from what was spirit, what was real from what was illusion, what was the battle of the ego from what was the blessing of human, or of being human. So many of the masters that you have heard and read about endured this grand suffering, becoming martyrs as well as masters. There is no need for that in the new energy. The new energy master understands that mastery is about being human. They understand that it is about integrating all energies into themselves. The new energy master understands the joy, and joy in this sentence is capitalized, and releases old concepts of suffering. Many of the masters in the past were isolated. They were off alone, away from the cities, away from their families. They lived as hermits in the woods, on a desolate island, or in a forsaken part of the country where no other human lived, perhaps justifying it by saying that they were getting back in touch with nature. The masters of old had to leave the presence of other humans in order to truly discover themselves. However, the new energy master understands that it is essential to be part of humanity, to be a part of community. The new energy master understands that isolation and separation do not serve the needs of the others, the ones who are ready for teachers. So the new energy master learns to be the master while existing in human reality, surrounded by other humans, working in everyday jobs, while traveling, while going to the same stores, or perhaps even the same churches as other humans. There will be a time that you need to be alone. There will be a time that you need to recharge your energy. But the new energy master understands it is important to live among humans. It is important to participate in human existence. For how can you teach if you are on some remote island? How can you teach if you are isolating yourself from some distant place? How can you be available to humanity if you are sitting on some mountaintop, secluded and difficult to get to? It's okay to be human. It's okay to study the past to understand the present. But if you don't take what you study to be part of the experience, then it's just like my bookcase behind me. Sometimes they sit there quite a while before I'll go pull a book out and say, oh, let me reread that. I think I need something. Ra is giving you this information so that you can use it, so that you can dive deep. And sometimes diving deep, it can pierce your soul. It can make you cry. It can make you laugh. Diving into this new energy. Energy is new every now moment. Every now moment. And so let us begin. We are beginning, if you have the book and are following along, we are beginning with session 80, page 50. And sometimes the divine will have me add an extra word or use a different change of a word, but I'm reading along with you for the very first time. I have not read this book beforehand. Okay? Hold on a second. My dog has went to the door. Hold on just 1 second. You need to go get some water, Bubba?
Imagine booking a soul session, ordering crystals, and joining a live retreat from your phone. For too long, finding the right healers, the right products, the right community has meant endless searching across scattered corners of the internet. That changes now. The Sacred Kingdom has arrived, an online hub where a worldwide directory of holistic practitioners, readers, life guides, organic makers, musicians, a crystal shop, books, and more are all waiting for you. Book one-on-one sessions, order products, and discover Kingdom members serving locally in your area, all from your fingertips, wherever you are, whenever you're ready. Stay connected to upcoming events and retreats, both online and in person. Tap into a YouTube channel built for real conversation, hands-on holistic learning, and free giveaways. And there's more coming: courses, programs, a holistic recipe book, and the Sacred Kingdom Mystery School Academy mentorship. This is a space built on love, compassion, and the belief that conscious living should be accessible to all walks of life. Visit thesacredkingdom.com, and if you feel called to build from within, email Marcus Christolight at marcustut23@gmail.com about joining the Kingdom Council. The Kingdom is open.
So I'm back. I'm ready to read. Sometimes you just have interruptions. It took me about 4 years to realize that that's just part of my lives, and I have to go with the flow. So he's back in here, and he left my door open, so if you hear some background noise, it's just life. Session 80. This was done February 27th, 1982. This is book 4. Ra says, I am Ra. We greet you in love and in light of the one infinite creator. Before we initiate the working, we would wish to correct an error which we have found in previous material. That archetype 5, which you have called the Hierophant, is the significator of the mind complex. This instrument is prey to sudden flares towards the distortion known as pain. We are aware of your conscientious attempt to aid the instrument, but know of no other modality available to the or to the support group other than the provision of water therapy upon the erect spinal portion of the physical body complex, which we have previously mentioned. This instrument's distortion of body Do not ever rule out, shall we say, such flares during these periods of increased distortion of the body complex. Our contact may become monetarily garbled. Therefore, we request that any information which seems garbled be questioned, as we wish the contact to remain as undistorted as limitations of language, mentality, and sensibilities allow. We communicate now. The questioner says, "Thank you. Could you please give me the condition of the instrument?" I am raw. The instrument is experiencing mild fluctuations of the physical energy complex, which are causing sudden changes from physical energy deficit to some slight physical energy. This is due to many, what you may call, prayers and affirmations offered to and by the instrument, offset by continual greetings whenever it is feasible by the fifth density entity of whom you are aware. In other respects, the instrument is in previously stated condition. So they already stated it to him, and he asked the question again. Okay. The questioner says, "I had to leave the room for a forgotten item after we performed the banishing ritual. Did this have a deleterious effect on the ritual or the working?" I am raw. Were it the only working, the lapse would have been critical. There is enough residue or residual energy of a protective nature in this place working that this lapse, though quite unrecommended, does not represent a threat to the protection which the ritual of which you spoke offers. Okay. So guys, remember, in third density, the energy that is consciousness is seeking itself in both positive and negative. The higher beings that are coming in, taking part in this play, have the opportunity to seek negative polarity as well as positive polarity. They can play that whichever role they come into play. Right? And they get in where they fit in, where you allow them in. Right? So maybe you hear the word ritual and it's not a ritual, it's just you take part in the allowance of what energy you want in your story. So as they're communing or having a conversation with the raw, if they're not physically saying we want to only communicate with raw, if they're afraid or have other things, other entities can come in and negate the purpose of whatever the energy of Ra's information that Ra is trying to get. And Ra is just saying, we gave you the proper, at that point in time, the proper rituals, they called them rituals, to do. But if you have other thoughts, if the person that Ra is channeling through is afraid of something, that opens her up to other entities coming in and disrupting. That kind of makes sense? The Ra wanted me to help you with that. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Okay? So the questioner says, has our fifth density visitor been less able to affect the instrument during our more recent workings? I am Ra. We shall answer this in two parts. Firstly, during the working themselves, the entity has been baited to a great extent. Secondly, in the general experimental circumstances of your space-time experience, this fifth density entity is able to greet this entity with the same effectiveness upon the physical body complex as always since the inception of its contact with your group. This is due to the several physical complex distortions of the instrument. She opened herself up to that. So this entity is still there. Okay? Not meaning she deserves it or she gets what she gets. She just has opened herself up to that with whatever the feelings that she has about, or the having a feeling that she loves channeling for Ra, but also feeling another way about it as well. Maybe fearful, maybe concerned, maybe, you know, the unknowing part of how it's going to affect her later has her open to this. Okay. They talked about this in book 3 and a little bit in book 2, but more so in book 3. Okay. So this is due to the several physical complex distortions of the instrument. However, the instrument has become more mentally and spiritually able to greet this entity with love. Maybe greet it with love as opposed to fear or doubt, thereby reducing the element of fear. Go figure. Didn't know that was going to be the next part of the sentence, which is an element the entity counts as a great weapon in the attempt to cause cessation in any degree, or any degree of the Ra contact. Baby, you're going to have to go over there. Go on. Go on. You can go over there. Thank you. Okay. He wants to be really close to me. He likes when I read the Ra. Okay. So, so the questioner says, what is the reason for the fact that the entity is able to act through physical distortion that are already present, as opposed to being unable to act upon an entity who has no physical distortion at all? And my book is down here, so I am really reading. I am Ra. The key to this query is the term distortion. Any distortion, be it physical, mental, or spiritual in complex nature, may be accentuated by the suggestion of one able to work magically. And remember, magically is also energetically or spiritually. Fill in the word that helps you best understand it. Okay? Able to work magically, that is to cause change in consciousness. Remember, change is the only constant in all the universe, and change is going to happen. And where are we? We're in the eye of consciousness. So consciousness is going to change. Ooh, does that just make you tingle? It made me tingle. This entity has many physical distortions, each in the group as various mental distortions. Their nature varies. The less balanced the distortion by self-knowledge, the more adeptly the entity may accentuate such a distortion in order to mitigate against the smooth functioning and harmony of the group. Questioner says, as Ra well knows, the information that we accumulate here will be illuminating to a very minor percentage of those who populate the planet, simply because there are very few people who can understand it. However, it seems that our fifth density visitor is, shall we say, dead set against this communication. Can you tell me why this is important to him, since it is of such a limited effect, I would guess, upon the harvest of this planet? So he's asking a question, and then he's kind of, giving his 2 cents as a question. I am Ra. Purity does not end with the harvest of third density. The fidelity of Ra towards the attempt to remove distortions is total. This constitutes an acceptance of responsibility for service to others, which is of relative purity. The instrument through which we speak and its support group have a similar fidelity and disregarding any inconvenience of self, desires to serve others. Due to the nature of the group, the queries made to us by the group have led rapidly into somewhat obtrusive regions of commentary. This content does not mitigate against the underlying purity of the contact. Such purity is as a light. Such an intensity of light attracts attention. Right? So energy attracts itself. Right? Negative energy can attract positive energy. Positive energy can attract negative energy. It's energy. So the more we learn, the more we learn, and the more we light up and kind of like being that beacon of light, we're going to attract people who may not be, in our little bandwagon, on the bandwagon of, wholeness and balanced light and love and everything. They might be coming in because they see the light and they're going, well, let me find out more. Or maybe that what they hear isn't, they want to debate it, but nonetheless they're attracted to that light. Over to you, Marcus.
This goes so well with my focus for today on Grand Rising with Christolight. Earlier at 10 a.m. Eastern live, I was talking about sovereignty and the power of consent and just understanding what it means to consciously be aware of and stand in the conscious usage and empowerment and embodiment of knowing that you have free will and that it is up to you to consent with the way that you use the vital energy that's flowing within your auric field or your sphere as a human being with this vehicle and vessel. So there's a little bit I wanted to read here from ascensionglossary.com. And for everyone out there, you can visit this website on your own anytime. And again, it's ascensionglossary.com. ascensionglossary.com. You can find so much content surrounding different planetary embodiments, starseed lineages, as well as what mind control looks like, how to identify false timelines, and things of that nature. So here it says, hydration check for everyone. I know we got this heat wave right now, so everyone hydrate well, slow down, and take care of yourself. So it says, in order to effectively take back control over our mind, body, and spiritual consciousness, we will explore the meaning of consent and the types of consent that are common in human language, as well as how consent is manufactured through deceptive forms of mass manipulation. Consent has direct applicability to the power of universal laws, and it is clearly mimicked and when used in legal context or in the shaping of cultural influences, which often differ greatly to obscure the everyday meaning. We need to be very aware of the engineering approach used in mind control practices that purposely manipulate people out of their informed consent, like the methods used in media-based psychological operations and the related propaganda that is used to get the uninformed public to support ideas and agendas that explicitly benefit the controllers. So now and ongoing, it is of critical importance that we pay attention and we are consciously aware of what we are in consent with. When we better understand what we are truly participating with, an informed and aware decision can be made. The global control agenda is designed to usurp the informed consent of the human public. The psychological operation is escalating in more aggressive ways so that people will be compromised to easily give away their consent. When people easily give away their personal consent to a structure, belief, or another person, it is easy to compromise and interfere with the intrinsic relationship that person has to their own inner soul and spirit. When we give up our rights to have informed consent in what we interact with, we lose our autonomy and even lose rights to our own body. Thus, it is up to us to place emphasis on accepting responsibility in our choices and actions so that we never give up our personal consent to something outside of our own inner spiritual selves, direct connection to the Godhead or Source. In this way, we can interact with many different structures in this world, collaborate with other people and communities, but external things are never given authority over the direction of the higher self and relationship with God or Creator. This is what it means to be in this world, but not of this world. Our multidimensional consciousness exists outside of time, and we are reconnected. We are able to hold witnessing way beyond the control matrix. The relationship with the inner core self and the highest expression of self, as connected to the Godhead, must be the highest priority in order to retain power over personal consent. This action unleashes the power of consent and universal law, preserving the rights for claiming self-sovereignty and assigning higher authority to the body, while being bombarded with 3D mind control tactics designed to manipulate consent away from all people. So what is consent? Consent is an act of power of the mind to think and understand, to reason and perform careful consideration of participating with something, and to reflect on the consequences of that participation. The proper meaning of consent is a person who exercises sufficient mental capacity to make an intelligent design that is demonstrated through the genuine willingness of an action as a result of reaching an agreement in mutual or shared interest, or performing an action that is proposed by another. Consent is not real consent any longer when tactics of terror, intimidation, deception, and fear are used as an explicit tool to manufacture consent in a person in order to get them to go along with performing an action. Obviously, this is coercion administered under threat of personal harm. Thus, we can be made aware that many people's consent is stolen, manipulated, and manufactured through the specific psychological targeting on the masses with intimidation, bullying, terrorism, and victimization fears. This is a mass media psychological operation used to traumatize the world's citizens, distracting them from comprehending the power of consent. Navigate and see ourselves in relation with our capabilities and what we allow ourselves to choose to be subjected to, and the way that we choose to perceive and have relation with the energy that we're interacting with. And I find it so beautiful that we can get these reminders of these gifts that we have, these gifts of life, to be able to make free will choices and to be able to remember that we are capable and we get to decorate this vehicle and customize the way that this vehicle on your earth journey gets to be experienced. And with that, it brings more joy, knowing that you get to be the alchemist and the custom creator, the customizer of this mind, body, and soul vehicle that you have. And that's all we want to remind you guys of, really. And Ra as well, is that you get to ultimately choose what your daily life looks like, how you want to perceive your daily life, what things you want to interact with, what things you don't want to interact with. And just continue to do that and be that, and know that there's something that feels like something you want to change, then you have the capabilities, you have the gifts to be able to make change and be the change. And that's so beautiful. And that comes with remembering the power of your sovereignty and the power of your consent. Remember that you are connected, to the source, and that no matter what pressures, no matter what humiliation, no matter what kind of shaming, energies that could be out world, could be out there, that you can always choose, as our wonderful brother Yeshua would say, to be in the world, but not of it, and honor your soul. Over to you.
All right. So what we got here, I'm going to acknowledge Earth Angel 83. She says, thanks for holding space and sharing your wisdom with the collective. And then she thanks Fifi for inviting her in big love to be with us. And I'm glad you're with us. Thank you, Fifi, for inviting her. Thank you, Fifi, for being part of this book reading, this collective and outstanding informational guide from Ra. Because all Ra wants to do is give us the cheat sheets. And you get to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Just like the person that is being channeled, allowing her body to have the experience of Ra be channeled through her, she's having her feelings and she's having her doubts, and a lot of the energy is running through her and her body. Some places her body is taking the energy and taking it on, and it doesn't feel good, and she's having all these vibrational feelings that open up other or allow the vibration of other entities to come through and try to work. But what Ra is saying is keeping her hydrated, allowing her to rest, and then her allowing herself to take the information in, because it's not just that she's being a channel, guys. She's hearing the information that Ra is giving as well. So she has to take it and utilize it for her life as well, so that she can come back and do this again as many times as she wants. And that's why in both book 2, book 3, matter of fact, even from book 1, Ra has been saying that she has to be part of it. She has her group putting the candles where they need to be, and taking in and placing everything for the ritual, but she has to be part of that. Just like when Marcus does his vibrational movements for healing, he's got to open himself up to allow that energy to move. But the person that he's helping heal has to take it in and be a part of it, because the healing comes from them receiving it. That's all Ra is saying. Ra is saying you guys can do your part. I can do my part by answering the questions, and the person that's allowing me to speak through her has to do her part. Not that she's doing anything wrong. She just has, when it's time for, when she's ready, she has to change. That's all. Until she does that, hold space for her. That's what Ra tells the group. Keep holding space for her. Keep holding, that energy exchange for her. Keep her hydrated. Keep the water next to her. Close the energy circle. If it's for me, I know I have to learn more numerology. I was talking to Marcus before we started. I know how to close an energy session, but I don't know the invocation numerically to open a energy session. For me, the divine does it for me. I can feel when the divine's opening up for me, but I want to know how I can do that physically, mentally, physically, spiritually. Why? Because I'm all three of those. So I know 10845 closes energy exchange, but what opens it? This is my next. I got to do the numerology, guys. Whether it's a book or talking to root to crown, because he knows energy. You know, we got to know our tools. That's all Ra is saying. Know your tools, right? You got the energy in you. Marcus teaches you about your chakras. He has this class that he has classes all the time. He invites you to them all the time, but he can't make you join. It's part of a process. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. When you're ready, you're ready. When you're not, you're not. Okay? So the questioner says, I understand up to a point. Okay? So he's going to ask so that he can understand more. I understand up to a point. And that point is, if the entity were successful in either this attempt or no, I'm gonna slow my roll. I understand up to this point, comma. And that point is, if the entity were successful in either of these attempts, of what value would this be to him? Would it increase his ability? Would it increase his polarity? By what mechanism would it do whatever it does? I am Ra. Having attempted for some of your space-time with no long-lasting result to do these things, the entity may be asking this question of itself. The gain for triumph is an increase in negative polarity to the entity, in that it has removed a source of radiance and therefore offered this space/time the opportunity of darkness where there once was light. In the event that it succeeded in enslaving the mind-body-spirit complex of the instrument, it would have enslaved a fairly powerful entity, thus adding to its power. Questioner: I am sorry for my lack of penetration of these mechanisms, and I apologize for some rather stupid questions, but I think we have here a point that is somewhat central to what we are presently attempting to understand. Some of my next questions may be almost unacceptably stupid, but I will attempt to try to understand what this power that our visitor seeks is and how he uses it. It seems to me that this is central to the mind and its evolution. As our visitor increases his power through these works, what is the power that he increases? Can you describe it? I am Ra. The power of which you speak is a spiritual power, the powers of the mind. As such, do not encompass such works as these. You may, with some fruitfulness, consider the possibility of moonlight. You are aware that you have described the matrix of the spirit as a night. The moonlight then offers either a true picture seen in shadow, or shimmer, or falsity. The power of falsity is deep, as is the power to discern truth from shadow. The shadow of hidden things is an infinite depth in which is stored the power of the one infinite creator. The adept then is working with the power of hidden things illuminated by that which can be false or true. To embrace falsity, to know it, and to seek it, and to use it gives a power that is most great. This is the nature of the power of your visitor, and may shed some light upon the power of one who seeks in order to serve others as well. For the misstep in the night are, oh, so easy. The questioner says, are you saying then that this power is of the spirit and not of the mind or body? I am Ra. The work of the adept is based upon previous work with the mind and body. Then it has a semicolon. Else, comma, work with the spirit would not be possible on a dependable basis. With this comment, we may assert the correctness of your assumption. We are all here to learn. Whether it's third density us or a fifth density being that has entered into this conversation, we're all here to learn. The correctness can either be a negative or a positive in how we learn it, based on the perception of the person or entity learning it. You can either see darkness as dark, or you can see that glimmer of moonlight that comes in, and you can see that the darkness looking different depending on how you're looking at it. Every entity has a different perception that it's learning from. Over to you, Marcus.
Every one of us has our own perception that we are experiencing and living with. You know, ultimately, it can really ultimately bring peace. It can bring peace to yourself by accepting this as a truth. You just think about it though in life. You know, no one can make you choose how you want to see something or what you're going to act upon. But it's also vice versa. Understanding that others around us as well also have their own free will. So just as much as, you know, we trust that we're connected to source, so within, so without, Yeshua says, in order to enter the kingdom, you want to try to make the inner like the outer and the outer like the inner. So that means if you're able to give yourself patience, you're able to give yourself grace, and you remember that you're connected to the Creator, And it's also just remembering, oh yeah, Sandee too, over there in California, while I'm over here in Sandee. She's also connected to the divine creator as well. And although she may believe, say, eat, do, or participate in something that I may not necessarily want to do, or that you may not necessarily want to do, it doesn't have to take from the beauty and the experience of each of us having an individual vehicle to experience free will. And when we can just come to that resolution with ourselves, it brings more peace, it brings more communion, and it allows that unified Christ consciousness to flow through us more naturally. And then we can just continue to grow, and just continue to build, and put our energy towards the things that really, really mean most to the core of us. And I just also remind us too of finding ways where we can maybe lessen the competition that we have inside of ourselves. And I invite us to think about where we can have more communion and more unification with ourselves and others, rather than seeing competition, division, or separation, but to see communion, unification, opportunity to be able to build a neighbor and build a neighborhood of community, to be able to be the change that we'd like to see in the world. Maybe we can kind of put down some of the things that we're holding as, extreme differences, and find the ways that we relate and the common difference as human beings. Heart to share with you guys. And I'm just so grateful for this space and the beautiful messages of Ra. You just never know what's going to come through in these episodes. And once again, hits it right on the head of what I've been really thinking about and processing, and also talking about in my other spaces as well. And that is remembering our power of consent, remembering the sovereignty that we innately carry as a being, a form of the creator, from the creator, going through a free will experience all together. And not just remembering that for myself, but remembering that as all of you as well, and honoring that on your journeys. I thank you guys, and namaste. Over to you.
Guys, I watch occasionally, and I think the inner me sometimes is a big kid. Occasionally I will watch. It's called A Wrinkle in Time. Okay. And it's about a father who gets lost in the universe, and a daughter that's given a task to go find him. Right? And when she does find him, he says to her at the end, I wanted to shake hands with the universe. I wanted it so badly that for a second, and I'm paraphrasing this, I forgot that I should have been holding your hand. Because for a certain period of time, as he was in the universe, stuck in a certain place where darkness was, a certain time had gone by, 3 years had gone by, that she didn't have her father with her. And life was not being kind to her. But she went on this magical vibrational journey. Look it up. It's called A Wrinkle in Time. Right? And it's about vibrational energy. I mean, you watch it, you think it's a kid's movie, it's great. But I'm going to tell you, if you sit down and watch it, the divine is talking to you. Or at least it was talking to me. I don't know if you're going to, sit down and have that inner ear, hear the vibrational language. That the universe is advanced, but it's not so advanced that you can't move through it. And her father found out that the language that opened up him to be able to travel was unconditional love. That's what opened it up, and he started traveling, and he kept going. And then he got to a part of the universe that was not as light as possible, and he got caught up in it. And he kind of sort of gave up. But the universe sent out a call to his daughter. She answered the call reluctantly, but she answered it. So we're not meant to be perfect, guys. When we started out in 5th density, we had no veiling. Earth consciousness wanted to start this in 5th density so she could move up the polarities and do what she does physically, moving up the polarities with the physical body. But what happened is the entities that came in to play with her wanted to have more experiences, guys. And in order to do that, you had to do it in 3rd density. But if you do it in 3rd density, you give up a little bit of the knowledge, or you become more veiled to why the story is happening. Just a little veil. Doesn't mean you have to stay there, but certainly can if you want to. Life is doing exactly what you're giving it information to do. You may not be doing it you may not be aware that you're doing it, but life is saying, I'm doing exactly what you want. I'm not pressing against you and being a negative a negative entity. I'm giving you exactly what you want. You want something different, tell me. But as you start to have these awakening moments, your higher self can chime in from time to time until you're awakened and saying, I got it. Or you can say, I don't want that. That's just too much information. I don't want to be responsible for that. And you do know you can go back to sleep, because that's a free will choice. It's also a free will choice to stay awakened. But just like these books back here, if I read them and do nothing, I don't apply them to my physical life, they're just books. Energy and the information that you get to utilize it. Doesn't have to look like somebody else and how they're utilizing it. You don't have to do it the way I do it, or the way Marcus does it, or the way Casey does it, or the way Nigel does it, or the way Ruth does it. We are individuals seeking out self or conscious self in infinite ways. The law of one, also known as the law, sorry, I guess somebody is trying to talk to me, man. All right. Infinite ways. Life is about infinite possibilities. We can be a whole group, baby. We've been there. We were there on Instagram 2 years ago. And now all of a sudden we're all disbanded. Doesn't mean that we have stopped becoming. It just means that we're not doing it in a group setting anymore. Doesn't mean that we aren't consciously part of the consciousness of the divine. Right? So before we go, I'm going to read a paragraph. It says, what goes on earth? The eyes of creation in both the physical and non-physical dimensions are watching from all around the cosmos. Your angelic families are watching what happens on earth right now. You, as a leader of your angelic family, came to this place of earth, fused it with life force energy, and dived in. You came. You fused it with the energy, and you dived in. Now your energetic or energetic and angelic family is watching to see how you fare, to see if you can truly remember your angelic origins, and to see if you come to have an intimate and loving relationship with the grandness of your I am heritage. Let me know if you want me to read that again. You want me to read that again? All right. Here we go. One more time before we go. The eyes of creation in both the physical and non-physical dimension are watching from all around the cosmos. That makes me just want to, whew. Your angelic families are watching what happens on earth right now. Your angelic families are watching what happens on earth right now. You, as a leader of your angelic family, came to this place of earth, infused with life force energy, and then dived in. Now your angelic family is watching to see how you fare, to see if you can remember your angelic origins, and to see if you can come and have an intimate and loving relationship with the grandness of your I am, your heritage. Not heritage 200 years ago, not heritage 15,000 years ago, but your now heritage. Your now I am heritage. You came to grow and expand and become. You came to have a relationship with energy, the power of negative energy, the power of positive energy, energy. And energy was given one rule to keep, to constantly create. If it doesn't do it by you being conscious of telling it what to create, it will create for you by default. And I know this might hurt some people because it's easier to feel that life is fucking with you, but it's not. When I came to that realization, I cried. Because then I said, oh, then I'm still responsible for what happened. But then, as the tears dried, I dove into the fact that it's about change. It means if I created that, I can change it. But now I get to be conscious about changing it. That's all Ra wants you to do, is be conscious about change. Growth and expansion. Your gift to the consciousness of the divine, seeking itself as you. I thank you for being part of this reading. I thank you for being part of book 4. I thank you for being part of my family, my spiritual family. Wholeness and balance, love to you and to yours, with one love and peace.
Wow. Thank you, Sandee. Thank you so much for that vulnerability and expression. Remembering our angelic human nature. As we close, we remind you of this image right here. This image as the spectrum ray of multidimensional light, the creator conceiving itself into form with free will to experience as an individual. May the supreme truth reign through our vibratory field, and may we safely allow ourselves to integrate and open our wings and ground into the mother. As we are secure, we are guided, we are blessed, and we are capable. Ashe.
Okay.
2023. Mother Gaia, third dimensional planet, ascending. Thank you from the Sacred Light Broadcast Network and Sacred Light Productions for tapping in and tuning in to all live and replayed content, holistic, conscious, for your empowerment. Tap in to the Christ light within. Please like, share, and subscribe. And remember that you are the one that you have been looking for. Enjoy this content. If you would like to collaborate or receive production through myself, Marcus Christolight, direct message or email me at marcustut23@gmail.com to discuss details. Wholeness and balanced love. Ashe.